Hi there! Cinema 4D Made Easy welcomes you to this new and exciting tutorial series on Deformers. Cinema 4D Made Easy is a quick and easy way to learn Cinema 4D. All the tutorials on this series are broken up on a tool-by-tool basis, explaining the basic concept of the tools and how you can use it. All under 5 minutes. This will get you started and helps you form ideas. My name is Bo Anthony Poorsen, and in this tutorial I'm going to introduce you to the Deformers in general. So, I'm going to begin this series by explaining the basic concepts of Deformers. In each following tutorial I'm going to highlight a specific deformer and explain it further in detail. So, the basic idea of Deformers is that they can manipulate objects, just as the name implies. The Deformers are located here, in this top menu, and if you click and hold this icon, a list of all available Deformers will appear. Now, you can see there are a lot of Deformers you can use, 29 to be exactly. So let's begin by adding, for example, a bend deformer to the scene by clicking on this icon. By clicking this deformer, you can see we've added a wireframe box to the scene. This box represents the boundaries of the deformers. On the right hand side, you can see we have a bend deformer in our objects menu. The next thing we need to do is add an object to the scene, because the deformer needs an object to deform. So I'm going to add a cube to the scene. In order for the deformer to influence the object, you must make it a child or a pair. This applies to all deformers. So let's make this deformer a child of the cube by dragging it onto the cube. Every deformer has a different set of tools to manipulate an object. The tools can be found in the attribute manager over here. By moving the sliders, you can see we manipulate the object. For most deformers, you need more segments on your object in order to get a smooth curve. So, if we select the cube and increase the value of the Y segments, you can see the bend becomes more smoothed out. The number of segments you add influence the smoothness of the curve. Let's turn this back to 1 segment for now. Let's delete the bend deformer and add another deformer to the scene, like a spherify. Again, let's drag the deformer onto the object to make it a child. You can see in the attribute manager that we now have a different set of tools available to manipulate this object. But as we start dragging the sliders, you can see it's not working like we want. The cube is not spherifying in any way. So again, in order for this deformer to work, we need to add segments to the cube. So let's select the cube and increase the segments again. Now you can see the cube is being turned into halfway to a sphere. So now, if we go back to the deformers and turn strength up to 100, you can see it's turning into a sphere. But let's say you want the deformer to manipulate multiple objects. For this example, delete everything from the scene. So, if you want a deformer to manipulate more than one object at once, we need to make the deformer a pair. So, to demonstrate this, I'm to make 2 objects. Let's forget the cube and make a cylinder and a pyramid. Now drag them apart so we can see the manipulation. In order for the deformer to affect both objects, we need to add a null to the scene. We can find it under Object. Select both of the objects by holding Shift and drag the objects onto the null. Let's call this null Object. Now we need a deformer. Let's add, for example, a twist deformer. Now we need to create another null and put both of the object and the deformer into the null. Now you can see if we play with the sliders, both of the objects will be affected. Let's for demonstration's sake increase both of the segments. You can see the twists nicely now. Finally, I have some quick tips on deformers that I will also discuss in depth in later tutorials. For most deformers, you want the wireframe to match up the height and width of your object. So they can perform the manipulation more accurately. In some cases you don't need that, or even don't want that. You can use multiple deformers under one object. The thing to remember is, when you place multiple deformers under one object, the order of the deformers is very important. In this example you can see I have made a cube and added a twist deformer and a bend deformer. I have turned the angle up to 90 degrees. So when you see the bend deformer and turn up the strength, you can see it's bending. Turn this back to 0. Now let's switch the position of the deformers. At first it seems like not much is happening, but when I start dragging the strength sliders, you can clearly see the cube deforms differently. This is because the object is going to look at the first deformer in line and then the second one. So, turn everything back to 0. In this instance, it's first going to look at the bend deformer and then at the twist. So it's first going to bend and then going to twist it. So, when you switch these two, you can see the different results. The final quick tip is about animating deformers. You can animate the sliders of the deformers and the position. This gives you a great opportunity to do a whole variety of things. In this example, I animated the cube from bottom to top of the screen, as you can see. But when I activate the deformers, one by one, you can see it animates through them. You can also animate the deformer, as you can see in this example. Here I animate a slightly enlarged twist deformer, and you can see its result. So, these are the general concepts you can apply to most deformers. In the next tutorial I'm going to highlight every single deformer starting with the bend deformer.
I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something from it. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to support this tutorial series. Feel free to add comments or cool stuff you made related to this tutorial. Thanks for watching.